And welcome to Part-Time Nerd. Things are a little bit different this time. Welcome. I'm Ryan.
And I am Mr. Allen, the part-time nerd. We had to change things up. We were recording last episode. I was going in and out. My computer's a piece of crap, so I grabbed my kid's computer, and here we are. And I'm like, well, crap! I don't have anything loaded into this computer. So I was like, he's like, yeah. You were like, send me over the intro. I'll run it. I was like, okay. We're like, oh crap! If I run the intro and I'm going to talk, then I have to talk because if you talk, it cuts in and out. But anyways, that's besides the point. Welcome to the Part-Time Nerd Podcast. We are, Doctor Who, Season 1, Episode 9, Part 1. Didn't know this was a multiple parter until I was at the end of it. The Empty Child. Holy crap, this was a weird episode.
Yes. Yeah. And one thing that I think you'll learn very quickly is they love doing part 1, part 2. I think even there was one where they did like part 4 or 5 at one time. Yeah, it was crazy. But yeah, this, as soon as it started, I was like, oh my God, this episode, it's creepy.
That kid is so freaking creepy. So there's this kid who's running around that is apparently, I think he's this chick's brother. So there's this girl who's kind of in charge of all these homeless kids in this episode. And it turns out it's like she's his sister. But that kid is so creepy. He's just like, mommy,
oh my
mommy,
God.
Are you my mommy? Where's my mommy?
Like,
I want my mommy.
Kids in general already give me chills, so like that just was like icing, you know. It's just I was like, oh, I'm so uncomfortable.
Kids like movies where like the kids are like the scary movies where it's like the kid is the main antagonist, like Children of the Corn and things like that.
Nope.
No, like I like kids, right? I've got kids, you know. I highly involved in my kids' life, doing coaching, do all kinds of stuff with kids. Don't mind them. But when you have a kid like that, that crap is just creepy and I want to punch him in the face.
Yeah.
That's just
all
there is to it. The cool thing about this was you had John Barrowman in it. Barrowman, which he's, big in pop culture, nerd culture. I know he part of Firefly?
Yes.
I think he played a big part in Arrow on CW. I know because I watched a lot of that. And he's just been part of a bunch of other. You know who he is, right? But yeah, this was a weird episode. So they're chasing, and just the way it all happens is really weird too, right? Because it jumps in and they're chasing a ship. It's almost like you start the episode a couple minutes late, but you don't. Right? They're chasing some sort of a ship because he says it's dangerous, and it crashed in London in 1941. And I don't even know. Like, I don't even know where to go or what to do with this. Like, they get there, and all of a sudden, Rose is like, you need to do this, doctor. And he's like, no, I'm not doing this. She wanted him to scan for alien technology, and he's like, no, we don't need to do that. We need to do this, and he goes into like a speakeasy or something like that. And he's just starting to ask people, which they all start laughing at him. It's like, okay. But in the meantime, Rose is tracking down the creepy kid. Like, you see a creepy kid in a gas mask going, mommy, mommy. I'm not going towards him. I'm going the other way.
Yeah.
And she just starts climbing up a random rope, which is attached to a blimp. And then the blimp starts flying away, and instead of just letting go while you're still over the building, she just holds on.
Yeah, because she was barely above the ground.
Yeah, she wasn't that high.
it was... a lot happens. I feel like this is a lot going on. It was almost overload.
This is really your first episode where you have the Doctor and Rose carrying two storylines.
Yeah, that's true.
Is what you've got with this, because the doctor's going through and trying to find out where the ship is, what it crashed, what's going on.
Hmm.
Through the process of that, he runs into Nancy, which is the head kid in charge of all of these homeless kids, um, orphaned homeless kids, and so he's tracking her down, finding out the story that way. Meanwhile, Rose is falling, and what's his name? I wrote it down, I think. Did I wrote it right, the guys? Jack Harkness. Um, that's John Barrowman's character.
Oh yeah.
He as she's falling, he shoots out a tractor beam
Hmm.
to pull her down, and instantly Rose is smitten by him. Like,
I mean, he's a pretty attractive dude.
I get it, but like she can't even think at this point in time. Like,
yeah,
I'm like, it was just very, very. She falls in love too quickly. I'm learning.
yeah. She sees a male and she's like,
I'm done. Like,
I love you. You're coming home with me. Like,
right. First you had Adam, now you've got Jack, and the whole thing is just it's weird. It's like awkward. Like she's so into him that you're just like, but then when she meets up with the doctor, you're almost kind of led to believe that some of it was fake. Like she was putting on a role a little bit, but she wasn't. Like,
yeah,
it was just, I don't know. But you've got like this plague going on, where if the kid touches you, your face turns into a gas mask, and your lungs collapse, and you have brain trauma, and ribs are cracked.
dude, it's wild.
A scar on your hand. I don't even know. Like,
yeah. When you get sick, a lot happens. So it seems like when you first get sick, you get that scar thing.
Yeah.
And then you slowly like get sicker. And then like your death is like all of a sudden your face turns into a gas mask, which was creepy.
It comes
out of a canister like coming out of your mouth. I was like, oh my God.
What the heck is going on? Like, I'm watching it and I'm like, yeah. I don't even understand.
It's crazy. But I loved how crazy it was, though. That's for sure.
That's just it. That's what I want from Doctor Who, right? That's what I've kind of, in the short period, we're 9 episodes in, the episodes where it's absolutely absurd and crazy are my favorite ones. You've got the Slytherins, the fart monster, the fart aliens, right?
Yeah.
Awesome. Farting is great. The very first episode, mannequins coming to life, things like that. Cool. Last episode, Rose's father and all that. Okay. But this I think this is like where Doctor Who is at its best, when it can be crazy and kind of campy. But the thing with this episode is it was just creepy as hell with that kid. Like, I don't know, man. Like,
I'm really looking forward to, like we talked about a little bit of just like, I think it was before we hit record of, I really wanted to watch the next one. Like, right. I had to stop myself because I'm like, if I watch the next one, I won't remember. It's exactly. Like, I kind of don't want to ruin it. Like, I want to watch it and then record.
Yep.
Because like, I really don't remember the second part of this. I remember the first part, but the second part, I'm like, I don't really remember. And so it's not necessarily a bad thing. It's just, again, there's just so much Doctor Who out here that,
I mean, and again, this is from like 2005, I think I saw.
Yeah.
So we're talking 17 years later. So I don't remember anything I did 17 years ago.
I don't remember anything I did last week.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I have trouble remembering things I did earlier today. Let's just be honest. But it was just a really, really weird episode. But it had, now what it kind of lacked that I really like is some of that campiness. You didn't have a lot of that campiness with this, in you get with like the aliens and things like that, right? Yeah. But I thought it was pretty cool.
This was definitely a more serious episode. It was a serious, creepy, yeah, not as campy. And so I do kind of hope going into the second part, we kind of get that campiness back whenever we start figuring things out. You know what I mean?
Yeah. But, I mean, again, I did really enjoy this episode, even though it creeped me out and weirded me out and gave me the heebie-jeebies with that kid walking around, mommy, 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 sticking his hand through the letter thing in the door, and just, and then like he wants to come in the house, and so the doctor's like, okay, I'm gonna let you in, and then the kid backs up and he opens the door, and then the kid like is gone, like what the is going on?
That part, even now, I'm like, how did he do that?
Well, because he's got all these crazy, like he can make phones ring, like the TARDIS was ringing, and the doctor's like, he's like, that's strange. This isn't a real phone. How is this ringing? And then he answers it. And it's mommy, mommy. I want my mommy. Are you my mommy? They're like, no, stop.
Ugh.
Like,
yeah, it's too much.
Yeah,
creepy.
And then when he's in the house with Nancy, right, and the kid's making everything go off in the house. You know, you've got the little monkey hitting the cymbal saying "mommy," the radio. He's calling on the phone. I'm just like, this is just this episode's being extra, is what it is.
Yeah, for sure.
Really ramped up the creepiness level on it, but again, I enjoyed it. This is when it's weird and out there and crazy. That's when Doctor Who is at its best. For me so far through you know what I've gone through. So, but yeah, looking forward to part 2. To see what happens and where we go from there and where we keep going from here. You know,
I concur with that.
Yeah. I did get a kick out of like, so the kids are, when there's air raids, the kids are going in the houses when all the families are going into their bomb shelters and having Thanksgiving meals, apparently. Like, you're in the middle of this big, huge war and you can be called down any time, but they prepared a feast. And these kids are all sitting there eating. The doctor shows up out of nowhere, talking about how excited he is for the food. And then the girl takes his plate away because he took 2 pieces of turkey.
Yeah. And
everyone was supposed to take 1. And I was just like, but yeah, it's got those little moments, and I love seeing the doctor, and he's very charismatic. And when he goes into a room, the room is instantly his every time he goes into a room. And it was the same with this one. You know, he had all the kids laughing and cracking up as he's sitting there with them, and these kids have no idea who he is, right? But he's just got that. I don't know what it is, but he's got it.
I think that's one of the best parts about Doctor Who in general, especially like eventually whenever we get into the different versions. They all just have that thing that makes you want more.
Just kind of gravitate towards them. You're like,
yeah,
okay, let's go. I'm in.
Yeah.
So, you got anything else on this one?
I don't think so. I'm excited to start the episode 2.
Right. I don't know. Let's see. I don't know how long I'm going to hold off on that one. I might be firing that one up tomorrow. We'll see.
Yeah, same.
But thank you guys so much for watching. As always, like, share, comment, follow, subscribe, all that fun stuff. Is there anything you want us to watch? Shoot us over an email, parttimenerdpodcast@gmail.com. Until next time, we'll talk to you guys later. Deuces.